Have you ever wondered what it takes to run a Supercross team? What the day-to-day looks like? How about behind the scenes at the races and what happens during the week between rounds? Join me, Ryan Kuntz, as we follow the Mad Parts, Double Eagle MX, Numera Technologies Kawasaki team through their journey in the 2021 Supercross season. This is After the Gate Drop. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Ryan Kuntz. Welcome to After the Gate Drop. This is our first episode ever. I've got the team here, Team Mad Parts, Double Eagle, MX, Numera Technologies Kawasaki team. It's a brand new team for this year with new sponsors, new riders. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to try to separate ourselves from other podcasts. We are another moto podcast, but we are going to be different. Talking about some different topics, trying to be a little different with kind of giving you some unique backgrounds to the sport, some things that are going on behind the scenes, talk a little bit about the teams that we're competing against, obviously about our team and our riders. But yeah, let's get this thing started. To my right here, I've got Bubba Pauly, who's the owner of the team, but also a rider. And to his right, we've got a new rider on the team here, Logan Karnow, but a lot of people know him. Obviously, he raced on the 250 West Coast this last season, and we'll do that again, and then also kind of mix it up in the 450 class again this year. So that'll be good to have that. So welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate it.
So we're here in just outside Edwardsville, Illinois. What town are we actually in, Bubba?
We're here in Alton, Illinois at the Anderson compound.
Yeah, well, obviously you can see in the background we've got some really cool toys and some motorcycles around here. So good stuff going on here. Thanks for that for sure, to have this place to do it. But yeah, so really, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the team for this year and really just kind of introductions of your guys' self, because maybe not everybody knows who you are and what your role really is on the team and what you're doing. So we'll start with that, kind of the basics, just so our audience can kind of get to know us and go from there. So as I said, I'm Ryan Kuntz, the team manager this year in 2021. And just helping the team out, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, if you will, running podcasts and doing all the back end stuff as well. So Bubba, talk a little bit about yourself, your role on the team, and then we'll do the same with Logan.
Yeah, so from Edwardsville, Illinois. I've been racing Supercross since 2014. I rode for a couple small teams and, found some weak areas in those teams and thought, I was like, man, a rider run program, we can really, enhance some of these sides of, make sure everybody's benefiting from it. And so it kind of evolved into where we're at now slowly, but it was definitely not a plan to do this to this scale, but I just kept seeing opportunities and kept growing the program. So here we are today. Every year we grow with different better riders and more funding and just really making sure we're executing all the things. One big thing is just things that don't cost money, but we continue to evolve on. A lot of teams skip out on some of those things, a little more effort, but yeah, so I've been racing the 450 class full time. Haven't missed a race in 2016 was the last time I missed a race. So I've been all 17 rounds every year since then, and it's been good. Made a handful of main events and just looking to add to that and really elevate the program, my performance.
Awesome. Nice. Appreciate it. And also try to be a little closer to the mic too for us, just to make sure our audio's high. Hey, Logan down there. What's up, man?
How's it going, my dude?
Good. New things this year. We'll go into it a little bit more, but just high level, like who are you and, what's going on?
Yeah, Logan Karnow. I'm from Vermilion, Ohio. I've been racing pro. Well, same as Bubba, actually. I think we turned pro actually at the same race back in 2014. God, I don't even like saying that. It makes me feel old. But yeah, I've been kind of did my own thing for the first couple of years, just kind of me and my dad. He was helping me out, and I got some support from a team called Team PRMX, and I've been with them for the past 3 or 4 years, and they've done like over the top everything for me, pretty much keeping me racing. I didn't really even have bikes myself, and I was with them for a really long time. They hooked it up big time, and Bubba approached me after Salt Lake City, and we started talking and said what kind of he could do for me. And, it's exciting. It's a big change for me, like changing everything. And, it feels like a family already. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're excited to have you. Everything that, You do kind of, we were talking about that even before really you were officially on the team. Bubba and I were having some conversations about it and stuff, and we're extremely excited to have you for sure. Just the flair that you bring, if you will. I don't know if that's a cool word to use these days, but
that's fair.
Like just whatever it is, all those kids out there. The drip, maybe, is that right?
Yes, man.
But anyways, we're excited to have you on, man. Obviously you bring the heat on the track as well too, and we're excited to see what you do this season for sure. So, but about the team, like I said, these first few minutes here on this podcast being episode number 1, we kind of want to establish the foundation of who we are and what we're doing. So I do want to talk a little bit about the team, and then we'll kind of get into some cool topics here for tonight. But to really dive in deeper, we're missing one rider who's not here. He's actually in transit, coming over from Barcelona, Spain. Returning to the team is Juan Cross. And he could be here as early as tomorrow, depending on kind of how the quarantine works, where he's flying into and such. But we're missing him tonight, but he's returning back to the team for 2021. So he'll obviously be here. We're obviously adding a new rider with Logan coming to the team. But that's not all that's new, Bubba. You want to talk a little bit about maybe the intro, obviously talking about the sponsors. We've got some new title sponsors this year, some people who are familiar with the team from being last year, but kind of came on in a bigger level of support, and just talk about, I guess, in general, just the new team and the new sponsors and the people who are supporting us, kind of high level. You don't have to dive in deep, but
man, every year we've grown a lot, and have a lot of the same sponsors on board, which is great to continue to work with everybody year to year. That means a lot, knowing that people have your back and that. And most people, publicly, I guess, know us as TXX Productions, race team. That's what we've been labeled as the last few years now, since 2018. So Thomas of TXX Productions, great guy, man. He's had my back, and he's still a big part of the program this year. He's still helping us out on a huge level. He's just not going to be, quite in the top tier of the support program, and a lot of that is to do with us, us growing and becoming a bigger footprint and moving our way through the industry. So there's very few sponsors that we haven't continued relationships with. So the majority of people, we keep working with year to year and building on that, and it's great. And so last year we started working with madparts.com and the guys there, Jonesboro Cycle down in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and madparts.com being their online store. They're really making a really strong effort in that, and it's really cool to be a part of that, help build that brand up and get that brand recognized. So really excited to be on board with those guys for 2 years in a row now. Double Eagle MX, a training facility here in St. Louis. They helped us out last year as well. It was a super late addition to the team. I think it was 2 weeks before the season started. So we got involved with them and, helped them build their brand, and, and they're helping us go racing as well. So that's awesome. We got Supercross track over at their facility now, and full gym, full motocross track, some turn tracks, and all the equipment you can need. And, Teddy and the guys over there, unbelievable what they're doing for the area, and really just taking the training to the next level here in the Midwest. And and Numara Technologies, actually did some stuff with them a couple years ago, which was really cool. It's just for, a couple races, just did some exchange stuff for them, and to be able to come in with them on the, the top level of the team, that's, it's really cool. So like I said, each year, we're working with these different companies and just building relationships. And that's what's, important for me. I always tell everybody, I don't want to just, hey, let's sign a deal, let's do something this year and make sure, we really need to make sure that it works and continues to work. And, a lot of that just is being open and honest and communicating well throughout the year. And, like I said, with anything, you'll have some ups and downs. Some deals don't work out, and some people go different directions and stuff for various reasons. But we really try to make sure that we're open and honest and being productive with our race team and the reason we're doing business with people.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I mean, we're extremely, proud to have the people who've stepped up and a lot of the returning, supporters, even during these times with COVID and stuff. It was kind of where everybody's kind of wondering. I'm sure a lot of teams have, we've seen some teams close down, probably not directly due to COVID, but certainly a contributing factor. So, to kind of see the backing that we've had and be able to bring the team back in the full force in operation as it has in the years past was something that was obviously a huge blessing for us for sure. So you talked about the sponsors, but let's talk a little bit about the process of, bringing in this guy over here on our right. What was maybe diving into that and bringing on, well, first of all, a lights rider, a 250 rider. We've been known as a 450 team the last several years. It's something that we've actually, just made sure that we were always a 450 team, and this year it's a little different with a new rider. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, to be honest, he just looked like a guy struggling, looked like he needed some support, so I brought him in off the street. And,
yeah, we needed some charity work, right?
Yeah, no, Logan's he's a great rider. Like he said, we turned pro right around, like the same race almost, and his work ethic, the way he, his lifestyle, the way he trains, all that it's very similar to the way we do things. And that's probably one of the most important things when it comes to looking for a teammate, somebody that, we can actually be teammates with. If you look at any other professional sport, football, baseball, whatever, these, the athletes train together. They help each other build up. It's a team effort. And, for a lower budget program like us, we might not have, a dozen people working in the corner for us. So we have to, work for each other. So, to be able to live the same lifestyle, travel, train together, really push each other on and off the track. There's endless, situations of we had a crazy one today where we're helping each other on and off the track. So so that's very, very important. And Juan's the same way, man. Brought him over in 2019, and same thing with the sponsors. I wasn't looking to do something one year with somebody. I wanted to say, hey, how can we work together long term, be beneficial to each other? So I was able to go race for his team over in Europe last summer. Unfortunately, this year with the COVID situations, we weren't able to do that, but it was awesome for him to come over. We live with each other throughout the season every day. Of course, there's ups and downs. There's times where want to throw a wrench at his face, but and vice versa. So that's just kind of the nature of living with somebody 24/7. But at the end of the day, we're benefiting from being with each other. And, to have a teammate that you can hold accountable and, they hold you accountable as well is very important. So, we actually did have Juan on a 250 in 2019 when he came over on the West Coast, and then he rode the 450 on the East. And then last year he rode 450 all season, and he's a really solid guy on a 450. The 250, he had some ups and downs. It was his first year here in the U.S., and so there was a lot of difficulties. I learned a lot, and he learned a lot as well. But Logan's a pretty solid 250 guy, and he'll be on the 450 as well this year too. So really looking forward to just really locking things down and having a good footprint in both classes.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it's Logan, I definitely want you to chime in on it as well. So I guess real quick before we hear Logan's part, talk about the process of how those conversations happen. With a small budget team, when you think about the bigger factory teams, they have agents, and they're talking to agents, and they're dealing, their people are dealing with the other people. And, this is a little bit more personable because, you are the owner of the team, you're a rider of the team. But, talk a little bit more about how that process works for us specifically as, the International Supercross race team. How does that process work? Is there an interview process where you're interviewing them? Obviously, you've watched his results. You're friends. You see each other outside of the pits and inside the pits. But, how does that process work as far as flipping the switch and starting to talk about business?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I said before, you have to make sure you have stuff in common with people, something that everybody's going to benefit from. But when it comes down to that, it's simple conversation asking, hey, man, what do you got going on for next year? You interested in doing something more? I can see myself benefiting from working with you, and I can see you benefiting from working with us, and I think we have something good to offer. And, you mentioned factory teams with agents and this and that, and, for the longer I've been around the industry, I see a lot of teams that are, hollow shells, if you will. They got a big semi truck and they look cool from the outside, but there's not a lot going on the inside. And that's something that I saw a big opportunity organizing a race team was to say, hey, those things, a lot of those things don't cost any money. It's just effort and discipline. And those things go a long way. And, so, you put the extra effort in and you'll see, immediate results with that thing, with those type of things. And, Yeah, so like I said, kind of I got to learn a little bit over the years about what other riders are getting from other teams, and what they're worth, and obviously I think all riders are worth more than what they're getting. Maybe not the championship winning guys, but everybody else. I think we can all a quote from Mike Muley, director of Supercross. He said, "Rising tide, all ships surface." So I think everybody needs to pull their weight, be accountable, and at the end of the day, maybe in a couple of years, maybe in a decade or two, I think the sport will be in a different place if everybody does that. And like I said, the discipline, the extra effort, doing those small things that don't cost anything with the inner workings of a team, those are types of things that I really truly believe will help elevate the sport in a whole if everybody do those things.
Yeah, and it's a great outlook on it, and I think you're exactly correct. And every team operates different, and obviously saw a lot of those traits in Logan. The kind of all hands on deck, right? I mean, that's how we operate as a smaller team. We don't have a team of 20 people. Like you don't just take off your gear and throw it on the floor like Ken Roxon, right? And someone picks it up behind you. Like not everybody has that luxury, right? So
whoa. Have you seen Ken Roxon throw his gear on the floor and somebody pick it up? You called him out, so.
Yeah.
You have?
Oh yeah, he puts it on his Instagram.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he told Logan, didn't he? He's totally open about it.
Dude, I don't know. I actually don't even follow Ken.
Oh yeah.
Seems like a bad dude though.
That's a competitor.
No. Yeah, he throws it on the ground and he's like, I made a mess for so and so, and he'll tag him on it. And he's like, sorry, and it'd be like 4 sets of gear for practice day.
I'm gonna
right?
have to do that to this guy and see if he does it.
I don't think you're gonna last long.
No,
Logan, haven't been around. I don't think you're gonna last very long if you do that.
He's very meticulous.
But no, obviously we're hearing from you. So sorry to leave you out there for so long. But let's hear your take on it. Obviously, Logan. I mean, you came from PRMX. Maybe a quick background on that, and then why switch teams, right? Like why come over and join our team? So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was running when I was back on Hondas back in, I think it was 2015, I think. And I was running a motor guy named, his company is TLR. And he actually was talking to me because the guy that owns PRMX, he was doing his stuff for him. And he was looking for a rider to kind of help out for the rest of Supercross that year. And Julian got a hold of me, which is the owner of PRMX, and for the last couple of races, I put his graphics on my bike, and he kind of helped me. I think he paid for my entry fees and like just small stuff that year, and brought me up to Canada and did some of the Quebec arena crosses and stuff like that, and had fun up there and did pretty well. And for the next year, he got some Kawi support, and I jumped to a Kawasaki, and I actually really, really liked him. And for the past 3 years I've been with him, and it's been really good. I mean, he's been keeping me racing. I don't really even have any bikes myself, and he's basically he was basically my second dad, or still is my second dad. We still talk almost every day. He's a good dude. But at the end of Supercross, a little bit after the end of Supercross, me and Bubba started talking a little bit, and it just sounded like a good thing. Maybe just time for a change. And I don't know. He kind of came at me with some pretty good offers and was going to help me out like quite a bit, and gave me the opportunity to run kind of some of my own stuff that I felt comfortable with that I haven't been able to run for the past couple of years, which was really cool. And it's been really good ever since I started riding for Bubba. It's like his family's basically already my second family, and like like Bubba said, we hold each other accountable when we're riding. And like we did a 10-minute moto today, and as soon as I pulled off the track, I told Bubba where I was catching him and like where I thought I was maybe losing a little bit of time. Like we're just trying to help each other out, but at the same time when we're doing our motos, like neither one of us want to be slower than the other, but we're still trying to help each other out, because like on the weekends it's gonna pay off.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that. I was like, oh man, this is cool, because I haven't seen you guys ride together really ever. I guess today's the first day making the drive over and watching it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you pull up on the triple and you take the helmet off, and you kind of like just started going. You were trailing Bubba in that particular moto and watching his lines and talking to him a little bit about that. So it was just really cool. I mean, obviously you're doing that here today and before the races start, and then when you get to the track and start to race. I mean, when you go over the 450s, right? Like that's still kind of what this team does. Like they still help each other out. I've seen it with Juan and Bubba, and in the years past, and it's just that's what you do, right? Like that is a different dynamic of team. With a lot of teams like that, I think it goes back to Bubba's point. Like they're hollow shells, right? Like you don't see that from the Tomacs and the Sensorillos, and they kind of go their separate ways. Of course, they got people watching for them and kind of sharing those things, but that's not the same.
Yeah, like even like something like today, I had a bike malfunction, or like just a stupid little mix-up, and
tell us about it. I want to hear it because it's been brought up now twice.
Are we going into details, Bubba?
Yeah.
All right.
You lead it. I'll fill it in.
I got the video. We're gonna post this.
Oh, jeez. All right. I don't know what exactly happened, but I just changed a tire today, and I went to put my wheel back on, and it was totally fine. And like after one of our motos, I just went to tighten up my chain, and like my the bolt, like it didn't want to move, and I like pushed down pretty hard, and I like kind of stripped the axle where it kind of like meets the axle block. And yeah, it just
I've never seen that before.
Me either, dude.
Insane.
It wasn't my fault, I swear. Maybe it was his fault. I don't know. But yeah, we ended up having to actually cut the axle off, and it took about a good hour and a half, and we were supposed to do like three or four like 10-minute motos today, and
with like 25-minute breaks in between.
Yeah,
it ended up being an hour and 25.
Yeah, it was like an hour and 45 minutes, I think, from like the second to third moto. He was doing it the whole time, just helping me out. I'm not super great with power tools, but yeah, he was helping me out, and yeah, it's a cool team environment. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I will say like it. Very little, but I was getting slightly like PTSD from the Supercross season last time with Bubba because I'm like, dude, it's like a $60 axle. Like, just cut the dang thing off. And he's like, he doesn't want to. He's like, no. We're gonna put a screwdriver here, put a tap here. Let's do this. And I'm just like, dude. Hour and a half later, what are we doing? We're cutting it off.
I didn't actually price the axle yet, so 60 was a roundabout guess. It could be 160. I don't know.
I tell you what, however much it's over $60, I will pay for that.
Okay. All right.
I already owe Bubba $10 from today.
There we go. Yeah. Plus the pizza tonight.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I'm digging myself a hole.
Yeah.
Oh, and an inner tube from today.
Yeah, the $10 bet from earlier was one of our motos. I said, all right, we're gonna do it 10 minutes, no brakes, so no front and rear brake on the Supercross track. As as hard as we could go within reason. And Logan was like, no. We got a pretty big triple, really big triple, right into it, relatively flat 90-degree corner into a double after it, and it was pretty loose. And he was like, all right, $10 if you hit that triple, make that corner in that double with no brakes. I said, all right, let's do it. I went out, busted out first lap. No problem.
Did you land on the seat with the foot out? Or?
BS.
No, I landed standing up and then downshifted as soon as I stood up, used engine braking a little bit, and then carved the bike with my upper body standing up.
You're probably
He's smart, dude. I didn't even think about clicking down to first gear.
I was going to say first, right? Yeah, you got to be hitting that in second. There's no way you're hitting that in third right out of the corner. Yeah. And I mean, you probably don't even hit a triple in third gear.
No, we were second gear anyway. Yeah. So
I mean,
second to first. But
and if you overshoot that, if you don't make it, I mean, you're going over the berm, but you're also going into that white fence too.
That thing off to the side a little bit more. I've hit it. Actually, last year was the first time I've ever hit it. I hit it twice within a week.
Yeah. Oh man, no, that's good stuff though. But yeah, that axle story, man, I was just like, I couldn't.
I'll have to post a picture of that thing tomorrow, like on my Instagram. People get a kick out of that.
I got a picture too. I'll send it to you. You post it. My 600 followers. I think it's cool.
I've seen that happen one other time. It was Alex Ray did it a couple years ago at some track in California. I think it was a state fair or something. And yeah, they had to cut it off. And I was like, man, I think we're at the shop. We got enough tools here. I think we can get away from cutting it off. We can salvage the axle, just replace the nut. It didn't work, but it took a while to cut it off anyway.
It did. And I was thinking this too. I don't think I said it out loud after the fact, but I was like, good thing we're not actually at a race dealing with this. Because I mean, of course we would have made the decision to hack it off a lot quicker, but still though, that's just an uncommon thing that proved to be a big nuisance. Right. And then also making sure you got another axle. I mean, obviously we have other bikes, we would have had a backup bike there to do that, but
well, the crazy thing with that, if that was last minute and that happened right before you're going up for a session, it was you can't just take it off. There was no getting it off. So, it was you either fix it or, you swap all your suspension to another bike or something, which, well, by the rules, we can't do that. So
that's my bad.
Suspension and the swing arm. I mean, the swing arm at that point, you're going to take everything off.
Yeah.
The whole back end of the motorcycle, basically, at that point. So, yeah, crazy day of events for sure. But it was good. I want to talk about the track a little bit, but we'll do that a little later. So I kind of want to stay on the topic of new. So we talked about new sponsors, new rider on the team, obviously. But it doesn't really stop there. We also kind of have a new van, new transportation this year, right?
Yeah,
Switching
man.
some things up. Like,
had the
how are we getting to the races this year?
Yeah.
What's different?
So we had the Mercedes Sprinter the last couple of years, and if anybody knows anything about those vans, Mercedes parts are sometimes hard to come by, and finding somebody to work on them can be pretty difficult too. So made the decision, sold that this summer, and which that van did us good for a long time.
Good, man.
But yeah, it was just some situations it was like so freshened her up anyway. Needed to get a new one, so picked up a Ford Transit, a little bit beefier, 1-ton dually on the rear end diesel. So got that all set up this summer, and so instead of just doing the van, we're gonna pull the trailer with that this year. So we'll have in total will be about bumper to bumper, be about 40-foot long setup this year. And Top Secret Designs is currently in the process of getting that thing wrapped up with all our new graphics and sponsors and everything. So that'd be super cool. That gets finished up. I'm super excited for that. Have a new image and everything. And we're gonna, from the public looking at our setup, they're gonna say, oh, where'd that team come from? That's all new. But really, it's just some different naming stuff, different image and stuff. Same team, just a little more refined and a new look.
Yeah, that's awesome. So why not, obviously I know the answer to this question, and maybe a few other people do from the Indy, pit party thing that we did before Indy Supercross got canceled. But why not go with a big rig? Like you kind of have there's a reason for you, right? I mean, obviously we don't have it really carved out in the budget, but like even if we did, your philosophy is putting those funds elsewhere. So maybe talk a little bit about why aren't we, sinking money into like a big rig like that?
Yeah, I mean the number's astronomical to have a reliable semi truck, have a driver, and then keep it on the road. So like I said, there's so much more that you can put into a team and be efficient with than a big rolling billboard. And at the races, most of the time it's all covered up with stuff anyway. So.
Right. I was gonna say you talked about the length of our hauler this year, but you didn't really talk about how big of a pit we actually have out of that hauler. How big is it?
Yeah, so last few years we've been running a 60-foot in length pit setup. This year looks like we'll be about 30 by 50, so maybe a little bit shorter lengthwise, but we'll be a little deeper. And like I said, by the time most teams get everything covered up in the pit, you can't hardly see the semi truck. And the way we're going to structure things and present things, it's going to be no different. It's just a little different way to do and stuff, but it's definitely a lot cheaper to do that stuff. And like I said, when you're running on a small budget, every dollar counts. And we still sink a lot of money into our pit setup and presentation and everything. It's actually our single most expensive piece of our program other than the bikes themselves. But we get a ton of help from Jonesboro Cycle with those. So that helps out. But like I said, our single most expensive piece of the budget is, the presentation side of things. And, and that's really important though. You got sponsors, you got to make the stuff look good, and you got to be, professional and everything. But, if you were to have a semi truck, that piece of that budget would be 20 times more at least. I mean, like I said, we do things very, very efficient. But semi truck is, like I said, unless you're really pulling in a big sponsor, you can put funds in much more valuable places.
Yeah. Logan, what about you? I mean, obviously you spent the last couple of seasons. I don't know what PRMX had the year before last, but what's it like running out of a big rig? Like, I mean, as far as, just having that big awning and the big semi that pulls in there and you stroll up and you got it. I mean, what's your perspective on it, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's cool to have a bigger setup. I mean, it looks cooler. It's nice being under a big semi, but I mean, like he said, I mean, it's not everything. I mean, a lot of teams just have the big rig and really nothing in it. But I mean, I don't think there's really any difference in just having like a nice setup like how Bubba has it. I've always thought Bubba's, even for the past few years, even before I knew him, I always thought their setup looked really nice, very professional, and yeah, should be good.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can pack into a Sprinter. Like it's insane. I mean, the way that I'm sure you have one too. So, but I've seen obviously Bubba's and been a part of just loading that thing up every week, and it's just crazy
like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, and I just saw the new one, today in the trailer and everything, and the way that you guys have been working on it the last couple of weeks, like really have the layout good. So it'll be cool. It's crazy how you can pack a lot in there. So I want to talk a little bit about the tracks that you guys have been riding on. Your track, obviously, Bubba in the backyard, and then Double Eagle MX is where we're going tomorrow to ride. Talk a little bit about the tracks. You got a new layout at your track from at least the last time I was there. So what are some things that kind of go, and then Logan, I want to hear your thoughts on the 2 tracks that you're riding on, but what goes into how you're designing your track for the next season, and why change it up, and what specifically are you changing up to work on?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. When we're obviously year to year, you don't want to just run the same track, as we're practicing training preseason, you do a lot of laps. So having something fresh is very important. But and also, look at the big picture and think when you go to the races, hey, what are some areas you're struggling with? What are some, where do you need to turn your weaknesses into strengths? And how can we fit that in here efficiently? How can we alter the track, with the least amount of time to the track building time. Anybody that's built a track knows it can take a long time. So, but like I said, we need to keep it fresh, keep it fun, and build things that are going to make us better. So, that was a big thing for me. I was a little weaker in 90-degree corners. So I was like, man, I need to get some 90-degree corners in here, and longer whoop sections too. So, hey, we're going to put a longer whoop section in here this year. So, so on my track at home here, I don't think there's any obstacles really that we don't have on there, so that we're going to come across at the races. So unless they build something crazy, which they do every once in a while, and then the Double Eagle MX, their track, Supercross track they just built, it's brand new. Completely different dirt over there. It's more of a where the Supercross track is more of a hard clay. My track's more of a softer topsoil, so that track breaks down different. So different stadiums, different dirt. It's different all the time. So it's cool to have that. I had a lot of input on putting that track together too, and the space they had to work with, and what we needed, and really made it a busy track. So there's a lot of options, and still get your heart rate up, and it's coming at you all the time. So it's definitely a really good tool, and having both tracks to train on, within the St. Louis area, I was thinking, hey, got to have some variety here, and what's the best way to take advantage of this, and I think we got a pretty good setup right now.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, like you said, having 2 tracks to run off of that close to home, but also just in the Midwest. I mean, that was my biggest struggle back in the day when I was trying to ride in the wintertime, is just you just didn't have any places to ride. And when it came to Supercross, it was tough to find it. So Logan, from your eyes, obviously it's a good thing to have a track. First of all, it's a really good thing to have 2 different tracks. You're talking about it today, but you made the decision to kind of leave home and then come over here and basically live with Bubba, at least for the the month leading up to, or a little bit more than a month leading up to go time. So what's your thoughts on the track, and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's cool waking up in my room, like basically the window butts up to the track. So every morning I wake out, like I can just look right at the track, which is pretty cool. And yeah, Bubba's track's awesome. The dirt is like amazing. Like today, like you would go out there and like it would look dry, but like the bottom is like, it's like super soft, and it actually got pretty gnarly today. It got pretty rutted, and the dirt over there is awesome. And then Double Eagle, that track's super cool too. It's like Bubba said, it's a little bit harder pack track, but it actually got pretty rutted last time we were out there, I think, because with some rain and stuff. But yeah, that track, it's super busy. There's not even a straightaway on the track. There's just whoop sections, rhythm sections, and yeah, it's pretty cool having 2 tracks like within an hour or so.
Yeah, nice. A little bit closer to the mic for me too, both of you, just a touch.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Ryan.
No, you're okay. There you go. That was perfect. That sounded really good in my ear.
Like that?
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, cool.
Got excited. So we're trying to, for first episode, I mean, we're not gonna be like a 5-hour episode here, right? So we're trying to stay around the 1 hour mark. So we're halfway through there. It may not be an hour, but I got a few more things I want to talk about, and then of course we can, open it up. But we certainly want to save some content for episode number 2, which I got quite a bit for. But I do want to talk a little bit about just this season. We're gonna go into this more in episode 2, but maybe kind of hit on a little bit. We've got a unique schedule this year. You both were able to experience Salt Lake City So there's, not everybody was invited to come to Salt Lake City, right? You had to be standing current point standings, or basically qualified within the top 40 a certain amount of time. There was an algorithm. There was a reason why the people that were there for. So not everybody got to do it, right? So this year it sounds like pretty much anyone can register, like it has been normal. So there could be 60, 70 riders there again. Many of those folks aren't going to really have the understanding of what it's like to race consecutively within the week. And spend that time in one city. So obviously you have that this year. That's different. So maybe talk both of your perspectives. What was that like, and how are you maybe going to adjust, or are you going to really adjust anything heading into it, knowing that you're racing every Saturday and Tuesday, and then Saturday again? So yeah, maybe talk about that, and then I got a couple more questions on that. But yeah, from your perspective, what are you expecting going into that? How are you preparing?
I mean, I personally really like it. I think it's sweet. Like, we're just gonna get an Airbnb for the week or 10 days we're gonna be there. It's super relaxing. We don't have to travel. I mean, we'll get paid 3 times in 1 week, which is pretty cool. But I love it. I mean, we'll ride obviously Saturday, and then just take a couple days off, race again, couple days off, just just chill. I don't know. I really like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I heard on another.
I hate traveling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and especially for us too. It's as a smaller budget team. It is in most cases, at least with Salt Lake City. I mean, of course, that was just one city for 7 rounds, but for us, man, it helped our wallet big time, right? It was huge cost savings for a smaller team like us. The bigger teams are still going to spend the money because they're going to have the private tracks built for them so they can ride on them and stuff. But, for us, it helped. Yeah. In Indy, we got snow shovels and stuff. So yeah, we got a track. Don't worry about it.
I'm in.
Yeah.
We can drive 3 hours home for Indy.
Yeah. So anyways, then that's good. Bubba, what about you, man? Are you doing anything different than what you were doing at Salt Lake? Do you like this? Do you not? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I like it. Obviously if something goes wrong, then maybe your perspective changes a little bit in the moment. But, I thought Salt Lake City was really cool. I did notice the elevation up there. Recovery some days were a little off. I actually got a little bit worse with recovery the longer we went. So that was a bit of a challenge. But no, I've been doing some training and some testing. I did a couple race day formats last week. I did a Saturday and then I did a Tuesday, then a Saturday, and then Tuesday again. So, or something along those lines, I think, with maybe another day in between. So tracking my recovery as I went through that, did all the laps. And, but when I went from, the Saturday to the Tuesday, I did a little workout on Sunday. Monday, I just recovered all day. And then when I woke up, my fancy polar setup over here was saying that I was, I was pretty much in peak performance mode come Tuesday again. So that, that elevates the confidence knowing, it's like, hey, I'm running through these laps, these repetitions. Obviously race day stress is a little different, but still I went out and did a workout on that the next day. So, so just being prepared, running through different, scenarios and stuff like that. It's good. So I'm just trying to do everything that I can to, elevate my confidence and elevate my performance level to make sure I'm ready for those situations.
Yeah. One thing I was just thinking about as you were kind of talking, you're talking about recovery, physically, personally, as your body and your mind. We've obviously talked about us being a smaller budget team. And Juan wasn't here to experience that. So we were one bike short in Salt Lake City. Do you do anything different to plan for those consecutive races so short together? If there's bike issues or extra parts, or how do you basically recover the system, right? Everything that we have with us, like the bikes and all that stuff. Is there a different approach to that? Do you pack more parts into the trailer? I mean, we're not carrying spare motors and everything else that all the factory teams are. So does that ever cross your mind at Salt Lake City? I mean, obviously we didn't have any major unfortunate events, so that was good, but we have a full season of doing this versus just, a few rounds.
Yeah. Obviously having a good reputation and good communications with everybody in in the paddock is very important. So, if you need something you don't have and another team is there, most of the time they'll help you out, just replace it. Even the factory teams are pretty good with that. But there's a lot of teams that come over and riders that ask us for stuff and stuff that we have that they don't have. So, for this situation in Salt Lake City and most races, we'll have a practice bike or another spare bike with us. And, we set all our bikes up identical. So, practice bike, race bikes are ready to go the same way. So we can just plug and play, different parts if we need to. But it's definitely, when you say that short recovery time, mental, physical, mechanical, everything like that, I really truly believe that the base of that, comes down to your reaction, mentally and emotionally, how you react to things when bad things happen, what's your perspective on it and those type of things. And with a short window to turn around, that's very important. Your initial reaction to those type of things are really what's going to set the tone for how you rebound from that.
Yeah, and Logan, going back to your comment about getting paid 3 times in 1 week, I think it was in another podcast I heard. I've spent a lot of time driving the last couple of weeks. So I've been listening to him, but I think it wasn't directly from his mouth, but someone said that he had said that was Cooper Webb, that was the most money he had made like in a single week or something like that. So that's kind of crazy to think. Like, I mean, obviously you're jamming 3 rounds in a week, and you guys, based on the purse payouts, I mean, they're paying at the end of every round. So technically speaking, you're in a 7-day period, you're racing 3 times. So yeah, that certainly makes a big difference.
Big time. That's it's nice looking at your bank account after a week of racing, 3 times instead of 1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a shame you can't times that by 52 weeks.
Dude, yeah. I know, right? Like, I can't even imagine what Cooper Webb made in 1 week. Like, I mean, what is KTM, like, it's like $150,000 for a win or something like that.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And that's not even including his gear money or whatever. So, dude was, I don't even know.
And he won,
over $500,000 probably in a week.
And he won the most races at Salt Lake too, right? He at least he scored the most points. He was the most point scorer in the 450 class at Salt Lake City. So I don't know if that translates to. I guess it would translate to positioning. So, and I think he won the most main events there. So yeah, I mean, like, his payout, it probably was massive.
Dude's a beast.
Yeah. To most people though, like outside the industry, we didn't. We weren't getting unemployment or anything like that. Those 10 weeks off, we didn't make a dime. Yeah. It's like, and even this time of year too, it's like, when we go racing, it's we're not on food stamps going racing. So, it's obviously we like to get paid more for what it's worth for sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, anytime, I guess anybody self-employed would know this, it's like when your busy season it's time to take advantage of that. And that's the way it's going to be this year too, because it looks like we're going to have a shorter season coming into 21. The racing will be done earlier. So, we'll make more money each week, but we're going to have more downtime too, where you're not making anything. So got to make it count when you're out there.
Yeah. Well, one of my other topics is, and we'll kind of transition to that, but it kind of goes along with this conversation, talking about the payout that, Cooper had to, or KTM had to pay, and everybody else. One of my topics on here is Star Racing, and I saw a photo today. They have 9 riders. They have 9 riders on their team. Think about that payout every week for all those guys. Like,
somebody's flicking a big bill right there.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I do kind of want to talk about that a little bit. We got a couple more points here, but we'll jump back to my point, I guess. So, expectations for this year. We talked a little bit about the schedule being different, what you're expecting. You guys are both sound like you're pro for the schedule. No major concerns with it. Certainly going to help the smaller budget race teams out financially, just not having to commute as much. And, obviously you got to be smart about where you're staying and how you're affording those things. So, but what's your expectations, I guess, coming into the season, Logan? We'll start with you first. You competed in 250 West last season. Did really, really well. I think finished 21st overall, I think, in points. Earned the number 88 again. As mad as you are, but I think you got some cool stuff coming with that. But maybe you can talk about that too. But, anyways, so what's your expectation coming in this season? Based on last year's results, and maybe not even. Maybe you just kind of swipe that slate clean and you're looking at it differently.
My goal is to win the 250 West Championship.
Do we have a bonus for that, Bubba?
What's the bonus for the
There's no bonus in the contract, so I'm
going to be the least paid champion ever.
That's okay because it sets you up for the next year when you get the bigger ride.
Yeah.
Like, we're helping you here because they're going to say, well, what were you paid by that team?
I mean, he's got a pretty good shot at it right now. He's tied for the points lead.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is the closest you're going to be to the championship right now, so take advantage of it.
Yeah. Honestly, really haven't even thought about it. I'm just gonna keep working hard up to the season. Obviously, I want to be a main event guy every single weekend, and Bubba's been kicking my butt on the track, trying to get me in really, really good shape. And I want to be a top 15 guy, like, consistently. I think that's a realistic goal. I think the guys that are getting between 11 to 15 on the West Coast for the past couple of years is guys that I can run with. So I would say 13 to 15 would be my goal at the end of the season, which I think is realistic. And then in the 450 class, I'm gonna actually be on a 450 this year, which will be a big help on the start. I didn't feel like the 250 was a huge disadvantage other than the start. I always kind of came from the back, so I mean I would always come from say 15, 16 after the first lap to normally in the top 10 or close to 10th. Or I think if I can start around a transfer spot, I feel like my speed can be close to a transfer spot. I mean, beginning of the season's obviously going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of really, really good dudes until they kind of start, people start getting hurt, and then starts fading out a little bit by the end of the season. And
well, you did it in Salt Lake, so I mean, it's not something you can't do.
I know, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
and what, like the third round, wasn't it? Or the second round?
The third round in Salt Lake.
Yeah, third round. Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
a little water on the track, which is I'm from Ohio. Yeah. Kind of used to that for the.
Hey, it counts.
Played in my favor.
Don't discount it, man.
It counts. It counts. I don't think in the results it says that it was a muddy track or not.
It was freaking unreal, man. I wasn't expecting that. Actually, going into that heat race, I saw like the guys that were like 9, 10, 11. And I was like, I mean, if one or two of these guys like have issues, I think it's like a realistic goal that I might actually be able to make it out of this. Like, I never thought that going up to a heat race, and actually somehow came around the first turn like pretty good. I was like 11th or something, and then I think Freddie Noren crashed in the whoops, and I was in, actually I didn't even know what place I was in until I knew Carlin Gardner was behind me, and I saw Carlin Gardner's pit board and it said 11th. I was like, holy crap, I think I'm in 10th. And like Brees was not that far ahead of me, and Brees was kind of struggling with the altitude sickness a little bit, and he was telling me he was like kind of like having some issues with that. So I was like, shoot, well, if I stay in this and he has like a little bit of an issue towards the end of the race, like I might be able to do this. So I literally gave it everything I possibly had, and I started catching him with like 2 laps to go, and then he missed a rhythm before the whoops, and I went around the outside of him, and then he saw me. I had a wheel on him. We were going into like a 90 right, and he tried to run it in on me a little bit, and he kind of got cross-rutted and fell, and it kind of bumped me off the track too. And I jumped back on the track. I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh my god, dude! Like I think I'm in 9th place right now. And then I like rolled past the mechanics there. I like put up the number 1. I don't even know why I put up the number 1. I was like, number 1, like, am I in? He's like nodding his head. I'm like, no way. And I jumped across the finish line. I started freaking bawling like a little girl. It was unreal. I was out of a heat race too. So
yeah, that's cool.
That was crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's nice. So what about like any kind of like wild stories? I mean, obviously that was a really good story, and a lot of people probably didn't either remember that or couldn't really see it, because I know the coverage was a little different too at these rounds as well in Salt Lake City. But I mean, looking back at last season, any wild stories from your end, Bubba, at all?
Man, probably the wildest thing, which a lot of people heard this story before, but we were went to Indy for press day and walked into the stadium. There wasn't a soul around, and it was me, Julie, my girlfriend, and Juan. We walked in the stadium, just a ghost town. Like I said, not a soul around, no noises, nothing. There was equipment parked on the track that was almost finished.
Like no track crew or
no track crew. There was one security guard, and he was just sitting there and let us walk right in, which is kind of abnormal, even though we had our credentials. But normally they kind of give you a little run around, and it was just we were hearing rumors of the race being canceled, and there was just quiet stadium. And we walked, like I said, we were riding press day the next morning, so most of the industry wasn't there yet, so we were there even earlier, and we were on the track doing a unauthorized track walk at that point. And we got an email on our phone. Our phones buzzed at the same time. It says this event is canceled. And we're just like, looked at each other. We're just like, man, this has never happened in the history of like any, our sport for sure. But, it's like just looking and seeing the dirt works and all the feld people, with the work they just did, that they're going to have to tear down right now. Like it was crazy. And it was just weird. Just a weird feeling, and I think somebody came on the intercom. I don't know if it was Prater or somebody on the speaker. Somebody said, exit the floor or something.
Yeah.
Saw us out
At
there.
that moment, it was like, it's over, right?
Yeah.
Were you supposed to ride that morning?
The next morning,
Oh, the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Thursday morning you were walking the track?
Yeah, and if I remember right, that was that night you were on the track? It was like that evening, right?
Yeah, it was still daylight outside.
Yeah, if I remember right, because you and I were texting back and forth because we had obviously our pit event going on Friday, the next night, on Friday night. That Thursday night at 10 o'clock that night, I think, is when President Trump came on. It was basically like lockdown. Like, I think it was that night where like international like flights and stuff like that, where they were starting to ground all that stuff. I think that was kind of like that Thursday is pretty much when it just like it really hit for the nation, like the world, I guess, of COVID-19. Like it was.
Yeah, there was
this hope that future rounds were going to come. Like, well, we'll be at next weekend, and it's like they just kept dropping. Like every couple of days, this one's canceled, this one's canceled, this one's canceled.
Yeah. It was within 5 days. I think Juan flew back home because he was scared he was going to be locked out of. He's like, we can't race till May. Oh, I'm going home, and so he hurried up and got home, and then he couldn't get back. So that was a fun adventure. And then
thank you, Juan, for that, by the way.
Yeah.
The reason the reason I got to race 450 class in Salt Lake actually was because Joanne couldn't make it.
Yeah, I remember.
So Joanne was giving me crap on the Zoom call.
You were the first alternate, like,
Yeah, you only make the main event because I did not come. I was like, yes, sir, you're right.
Yeah. Oh man, poor guy. It's got to suck just sitting at home. Knowing where you were. Like, because everybody, on our team, I think we're progressing, and most of the time that's the case with any rider. You're progressing as the season goes on. But like for Juan, I think like he was showing quite a bit of improvement. Bubba showed a lot of improvement, but it really didn't turn it on until Salt Lake City. It was like almost a different rider that season, like last year. But like Juan was like inching forward and forward and forward all the way up until Indy, and he had a couple rounds there, but like he was inching forward and missed the main event out of the LCQ like just six. I think he had 2 6th places in the first eight rounds or something like that. So like he was close, and then went home, and who would have thought like he never would have been able to finish out the season.
Yeah, his mom told me that he was an idiot or something. No, something else. She was mad at him for coming home.
You probably can't say it on there.
Yeah,
Joanne would say it though, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Like at our Friday night, we still had our Friday night pit party, and freaking kids sitting out there watching, and Joanne's like saying the F word like every 4 words.
Well, he doesn't speak English, so he's like, when he talks, he just says what we say. Yeah.
I'll tell you that. He knows that one. I'm like, dude, he's freaking kids out here.
That's the only word I know. Like, I go up to Quebec all the time, but the only word I know in Quebec, like, good is that in Quebec.
Yeah.
Or French, I'm sorry. Shut up, guys.
Oh man.
My second story though was when we got to Salt Lake City. The most memorable part was, I think Logan remembers this, but there was a protest parade going around the stadium on race day. And I just remember that being so crazy. I was just like, what if these people come in here and try to steal our bikes and stuff?
Oh yeah,
like,
you're talking about in Salt Lake.
That was
I was there
with all
day.
the protesters and stuff. They marched around the stadium, and like I walked over by the gate, and I guess Feld had some I don't know if they were police or the National Guard or something, but they were like standing there with ARs outside the gate. I was like, okay, that makes me feel good.
They bypassed that street, that little connector street to the entrance of the stadium. They didn't think twice about that. But everybody was out there with their phones. Like I remember Benny Blows was out there. He's like filming it too. Everybody was. Yeah, like we were all filming. We're like, this is
what
nuts.
they want.
And dude, that went on forever. I mean, there must have been.
It was a 45-minute march.
Oh yeah. I mean, there had to have been over 100,000 people. Like, I mean, it was insane. Like, it just went forever. So. But anyways, I think can you say something in your mic there, Logan? Real
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah. It was audio was a little low there, so just making sure. So what about battles? We got like 7 or 8 minutes here before we hit an hour. So a couple things, but like any memorable battles from this last season Carrying over any grudges into 2021? Anybody got some payback coming?
I don't know if I want to talk about it. But.
Yeah, there's always a couple guys on the track that I don't care who you are that sometimes you're just like
this guy's got it coming.
Yeah,
from the practice tracks or from okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'll take him out in the last corner. I don't care.
How would that go down in the pits? Like for me and you 4-5 in the LCQ, and I just cleaned you out. You'd be pissed.
I mean, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed at myself. I wouldn't come. I'd still give you a high five. I mean, I told Juan that too. I was like,
God, that'd be a rough situation.
I hope you have the balls to go for it because I want you to lose for you.
I would.
I mean, if anything, it'll make for some good press. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, it would make me happy knowing that you want it that bad. Like that you don't care the consequences. That's what you're there for.
That's what you would think probably a week later.
Yeah, maybe.
In the moment.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, I would much rather have you or Juan take me out in the last corner than somebody I don't like.
Yeah.
So, true. I mean, because I would be like, happy for you, like the team still, like I said, rising tide all ships surface. I mean, like, hey, if our team's getting a result, our team's getting a result. Obviously I want it to be me. Nobody wants to be the low guy on the team, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, are we making it interesting or what? So hopefully we're not in that situation, but I do the same damn thing to you, so I don't care.
Let's go.
So a couple more things, but you've been riding. You talked about you're going to be riding the 450 this year, obviously in the 450 class when you're not on the 250 West. But you rode the 450 today. How are you liking it? Obviously you're not at altitude. You were in Salt Lake City, and you're talking about that with a 250F. But what's it like? I mean, you enjoying it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, I feel like everybody and their brother says they like 450s better, or they ride 450s better. But I mean, for me, like being kind of a taller guy and kind of just, I ride a 250 almost similar to a 450. I don't really rev it out super hard. I'm very easy on bikes, and I feel like my riding style, I feel like it does kind of suit a 450 just a little bit better. But yeah, I'm excited. I've been starting to feel pretty good on it, starting to feel comfortable. I got my suspension feeling really good now from TCD. I'm pumped on that, and ready for the season.
Nice. So Star Racing, I just want to talk about it for a minute. For nine riders, like what's your thought? We don't have to like beat a dead horse here because I mean obviously everybody's talking about it, especially since now it's been announced. I don't know how many of them are lights, right, or 250 riders, but we could probably figure it out. 6 and 3, yeah.
But I don't even know, are those other kids racing? Like
I know they have an amateur team too.
Two amateur kids. I don't even know.
Like Nate Thrasher and those guys.
They all got national numbers. Yeah. They got national
the
numbers.
rules now, you can freaking.
But you can jump back.
National number and then go back to amateurs.
You can race a few supercrosses and jump back still.
30 points, I think you're allowed to get.
Something like that. But anyways, like I guess the reason why I'm bringing it up is because like just to give like our perspectives on it. We've heard other podcasts talk about it a little bit, like, but they're not a racer, they're not a team owner, they're not they're not even affiliated with a team. They're the media, right? Giving their perspective on it. So like from our standpoint, your standpoint, Bubba and Logan, like, what do you, especially you, Bubba? I mean, you're running your own team, you're managing a budget. When you talk about the people like JGR closing their doors. Geico pulls the sponsorship out. We have 2 teams that shut down that, we're operating at a high capacity, a big rig coming in there and pretty big riders and field on there. And then they're gone. And then you see, Star Racing step up and expand their team. I guess, what's your thought on having a team having 9 riders, but then also just one manufacturer, like what Yamaha? I mean, like to me, like first thing that comes to my mind is like, I hope this isn't the new norm, because it's like, it just like seems like it becomes a monopoly at that point, right? Like, I mean, you kind of already seen it with KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, like it's already monopolizing, but like now it's coming down to the teams where like, you have 2 teams shut down, they got to go somewhere. So, and then Yamaha expands their team, with Star Racing. Like what's your perspective on that as a team owner, team rider, and you see something like that? Are you concerned about that? You think it's funny and you laugh at it like everybody else does? Like think it's crazy? Like what
no,
is it?
I applaud them. Obviously everybody wants to, persevere in tough times, and, they're adapting to the situations. I don't know they're, their financial background, obviously it's a factory-based team, so they got, good backing, but I'm not sure, how everything else collaborates and all that. There's so many details that go into, putting a team together, making sure it's financially stable, make sure it's, staffed efficiently as well. And I hope that, I assume their 450 program is run separate than their 250 program. You said JGR and Geico shutting down. A lot of people really fail to mention that, essentially Factory Yamaha pulled their 450 program out to merge it with that. So, really there's 3 big programs that are gone. It's still kind of there, but it's run a little bit different now. So
it's true. Yeah.
That's something you don't hear a lot of people talk about, but yeah, there's so much that goes into it, and especially when you're talking high dollars from some of these big programs, how is it managed? And ultimately, like I said, I don't know the inner workings of that program, but I hope they got it broken down into, hey, your East squad's doing this, your West squad's doing this, your 450 squad's doing this, and there's hopefully some people in the middle managing it. At least that's how I think I would approach it. But like I said, everybody only sees the outside looking in. Obviously they have a lot of really smart people with a lot of good experience, so I'm sure they'll be successful with it. But I do like I said, adapting to the situation and today's the way life is today. Just got to do things a little different, and it's better than shutting down, or maybe, if they were to invest into some other smaller teams, maybe it's not as, maybe it's a little more of a loose program. And so, they're making good decisions on that, but, the way the media covers it, like you said, those guys aren't necessarily on both sides of the fence. They're kind of on a whole nother island. So, to be honest, I don't really listen to any of that stuff. I don't really read much of that stuff, but I just try to focus on myself. And so that was honestly kind of the first time that's ever been brought up to me. Like I said, that's the way I would hope, and I would assume that that's managed. But no, I think it's cool.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, and Logan, I want to hear if you got something different, a different opinion on that. But like, you bring up a good point, Bubba, and I don't know if you said it specifically this way, but my mind went that way. Like, it would almost be really cool to when you see, instead of having 9 riders on one team, like you see those funds distributed some way where they're I mean, let's face it, like there are a lot of riders out there that aren't on a factory team, and it would be really cool if the manufacturers or some of these other teams had a budget to create like a middle ground somewhere in there. Like, I don't know. I mean, you kind of said something like that. Like, I don't know if it's a stepping stone, like for some of these younger riders coming up into something that's not a full-blown factory ride. And I kind of say that because I think that's kind of what this, the FXR Chaparral Honda team is supposed to be, in the Phoenix Honda. So you see Honda doing it with these other satellite teams. And I guess Star Racing was a satellite team at one point, and now it's, it's basically taken over factory Yamaha. But is that what kind of you were saying, or do you think that's a good idea, a bad idea?
Yeah, no, that kind of that direction. Yeah, these smaller support teams and stuff and how they do that. But, if they got the funding, they got the funding. But if you don't have somebody to manage that funding and somebody to be efficient with running a program, then you can have all the money in the world and you're not going to have good results. You're not going to have an efficiently run machine, as a team. So I've seen a lot of teams come and go really quickly. I'm sure Logan can say that too. It's like, hey, where'd that team go? They were here 1 or 2 years, and then they disappear. And, it's not a lot of it, either they run out of money or some of them have a lot of money, but they just don't have the means and the discipline to run an efficient program, and they can't sustain themselves.
Yeah. Logan, what's your thoughts on when you see something like that? I mean, you saw the post, like 9 riders sitting there lined up. The reason why I brought it up is because I saw the picture come up on one of my feeds. And the reason why usually I scroll past that kind of stuff, because like I just don't like the announcements. Like I kind of, old news in my case, like I see it so much with Facebook and Instagram. But like the picture, Bubba, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't sound like you have. It's their team photo shoot picture where they're all lined up. And how usually you see a photo shoot with like 4 bikes there? It's 9 and they're lined up, and it's like literally the whole start straight. They had to like line up like long ways with the start straight to get everybody in there. It's like a drone shot to like capture the team photo because there's 9 riders. But Logan, what any different thoughts than from what Bubba said when you see something like that? Do you think it's good for the sport, or do you think it's kind of like it doesn't really do anything for us, or it's actually bad? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I've never even really thought about it. I mean, obviously they got their stuff going on over there, and if they have the funding and the resources and the staff to do more people, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, why not? I mean, these kids deserve a shot. I mean, I agree with him basically.
Yeah.
Exactly, though.
If it wasn't for, and of course I'm biased in having this opinion because of my affiliation with the team and helping the team out, but like, shoot, I lost my train of thought. I guess what I'm saying, you're saying those kids deserve it, right? And like what triggered my mind was the fact that like there's a lot of people on the track that deserve a lot of opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
And you think about that. That's where I was going with it. You look at what our team is doing, and of course, not everybody knows our team yet, and that's going to change, right? Some people do, but they don't really know the extent of what our team is and what we do and how we do it. And obviously, we'll talk about that on this podcast in the future in this season. But like, there's not a lot of teams out there that are kind of like us that provide the platform we do. You got a PRMX that definitely has a program there. You got our team, and then you got some of these satellite teams that are picking up, I guess, the once big name star that came to the sport but maybe didn't quite make it. I don't want to say like they failed, but like, they weren't, they're on pro circuit for the first year and then they don't renew the contract because they didn't perform, right? And so they're on these satellite teams. But then you got the guys who are inside the top 40 who can make some main events that don't have a platform kind of like what International Supercross Race Team is, or what like a PRMX team is, or, some of these other smaller budget teams that still have like somewhat of a program, right? So like what about that, right? Like you kind of made a comment like they deserve it, but do you think that there could be something different that our sport does, the people who are putting money into our sport, sponsors, like do you think there's something better from that angle, like that could create some of that, or do you think it's kind of just go on your own? Like, like I don't know where I'm going with it, but for me it's just kind of like I feel like a lot of things in life, money's pumped to the top and
Well, I'll give you my thoughts on it. That's open a whole nother can.
I know I'm poking there. I know you always have a thought. And that's what I'm trying to get. See,
man,
come on, Bubba.
You got to make. You said people deserve it, and what I think is people deserve their chance to make their own opportunities, and that's what I did. I started with absolutely nothing. I mean, obviously my racing background, growing up, my parents helped me racing, but when I started this race team, I started with absolutely nothing. I bought a van, my own money that I earned racing. I actually used my Kawasaki contingency card to buy my van, the Sprinter van, when I had that year.
When you had no idea about Kawasaki contingency and I told you about it?
Yeah. I didn't know the contingency program.
Wait, I got a debit card? What?
Yeah.
We're 11 rounds into the series, dude. He didn't know Kawasaki paid for night show.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So he had like a good chunk of change sitting there.
Yeah, like $6,000 in it. I didn't even know I had it.
That was a good day for you.
And he bought a van.
Yeah. So, but no, like I said, everybody deserves it, for their own opportunities, I think, like I said, you're opening a whole nother can of worms with that because.
Yeah, explain that. Like everybody deserves their own opportunity, but cash oftentimes creates a lot of opportunity. But what are you saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want something, you got to go out and earn it. You can give yourself the same opportunity as some of the, maybe not the best factory teams, but a lot of these teams, in the middle, and you can, surpass that. Honestly, I found out relatively easy. You just got to stick with it and push. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's not the death of you to do it. And I think it's when it comes down to it, education and seeing what you can do and knowing what you can do, believing in yourself. But at the end of the day, more people could do that. There could be more self opportunities if there was some background. If there was an organization within the sport, I hate the term union, but if there was a set of rules, an education program where, you had to do this standard, this minimum, to where the sport itself groomed riders to create their own opportunities. Shoot, we did that with Logan this year with some, you grabbed a couple, different gear deal, where you got some cash out of it. That you were surprised about. You didn't even know. You're like, dude, I didn't know that.
Look at you. Turn into a man.
Yeah. So, just like that, it's like, what opportunities out there? It's like, you didn't even really know that was a thing. And I was like, well, you got to try,
So you paid him back for the Kawasaki contingency education. You gave him some education on, hey, there's some money out there too. You just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Cowie card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what it comes down to, like I said, I think if, ultimately I think it would be something the AMA should be involved in, something they should be managing, a rider, I don't want to say union, but a rider foundation. You know, you got all the other major league sports where there's a standard. You have to do this. We're going to train you. We're going to develop you this way. You know, that's what needs to happen. And all these riders can make their own opportunities. So many riders are so well known. They have so many great relationships with these, you know, some big companies, some personal sponsors, some really wealthy people that are racing, you know, fanatics that want to help out, and they do. And it doesn't go anywhere because these people don't know how to manage that. You know, and I'm still learning a lot. You're learning a lot. Logan's learning a lot. You know, we all are. We don't ever know enough, but it's all self-taught. You know, you live and you learn. But a lot of people don't even know that is an opportunity, that's something they can grow into. Like I said, it's not the death of you. It's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, we're able to race our motorcycles for a living at this point. So, you know, it's not going to last forever, but as each year goes on, you know, we're being more efficient with it. We're earning more money, you know, we're being more professional. And it's all self-taught. But like I said, I really do think there needs to be an organization. There needs to be a platform. There needs to be some, you know, just basic groundwork done from either the sanctioning body or the promoter to develop these racers and make them real pro athletes.
I could not agree more. I mean, I think you're spot on with it, and just hearing you talk about it, it kind of made me think also, like, inside of that network that is provided by whoever, whether it's an agency or whatever it is, you know, it's the AMA or a sanctioning body or a foundation or whatever. But like you said, some of these younger kids, they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to, you know, be responsible in that area of managing finances and making the right decisions on how to represent themselves as an athlete. You know, I see some of these privateers out there, even in the last couple of days, you know, like saying, hey, I'm going to sell my shroud for $1,500 around here. And, you know, like, does anybody want to buy that? Like, right. So they're out there trying to put in the work to do that. They're trying to do that. But like, it would be good to have, you know, inside that program that you speak of, like, there's an agent or multiple agents in there that represent some of those riders to help them, help educate them, help develop them, help mentor them. Because, you know, it's like a lot of other sports, you know, the higher you are in your discipline, the more resources you get. And so it's never an even battle for the people who are coming in there. It's the PGA, it's the baseball players, it's everybody. I mean, you come in and you're the top dog, like, you get the top resources thrown at you. You get an agent that, you know, like, gets you buku money and, you know, all these opportunities, media and everything else, and then you know, you're the low guy on the totem pole, and you get none of those resources. You never get educated properly to handle yourself as an athlete, to find more opportunities, or to be given the platform to create those opportunities. So I think you're spot on with that. Logan, I don't know if you have anything to add to it. I mean, you're kind of in the same boat, right? I mean, you came in privateer. I mean, you know, technically, yeah, you're still a privateer, but you're on one of the best teams out there. Right? But, you know, at the same time, like, you had to build your own brand, your own reputation. You had to do that through trial and error. And, you know, now social media is a thing. You get a following there, and that helps get you some exposure. But I don't know if you have anything to add to it, but I think there's a grooming process that lacks in our sport for sure, that helps them with some of those, what should be standard resources, I guess, in our sport. But I don't know if you have anything to add.
I think you guys cover it all.
Okay.
You guys are so professional. I'm just chilling over here.
Chilling. I know. Well, we're a little over an hour here, so I don't know really how to wrap this first episode up. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about, but we'll save it for another one. We're here for 3 days. What's on the agenda tomorrow?
We're gonna head over to Double Eagle, do some motos on the track there, get some more longer laps in as we close in on the 1 month mark to the season, and then we'll start fine tuning some stuff, do some more sprint stuff. But yeah, we'll do some longer motos, get some time in the gym there, and then we'll head back. Got some other work to do, some budgeting and some other interview stuff, some registration things. So it's gonna be a busy couple days. We'll get back on the track Thursday as well, and then I think we're talking some rain Friday. So get a couple good 3 hard days in a row, get some recovery in after that, and start working on some sprint stuff as we, like I said, close in on that 1 month mark to the beginning of the season.
Yeah, cool. Logan, any final comments? You know, Juan will probably be here soon at some point too. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, especially with me, Bubba, and Juan, like, doing motosphere. It's gonna get pretty intense. I mean, it's already intense, me and him riding, and to throw Juan in there, and, you know, I mean, some other guys that might even come ride a little bit, and Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm super excited for it all.
You and I were talking about this in the truck going to Qdoba, which by the way is not as good as Chipotle.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. And we couldn't even eat in there. So we had to eat outside in like 42-degree weather. We were eating dinner together. It was cute.
Make do, man.
Thanks a lot.
Outside. We were sitting outside.
It was still pretty darn good.
It was good. It was good. It's better than the Subway I had earlier today. It was bad, man.
I used to love Subway.
First
dude.
time in a year.
Subway anymore.
It's terrible. So anyways, you and I were talking about this in the truck, either going there or coming back. The videos that Juan's been posting on the tracks that he's been riding, like some of them look like sketchy BMX tracks, like peeked out, like little short jumps and stuff. Have you seen those, Bubba?
Hey, he built those. He built the
I'm not dogging on it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like
he loves it. He's pumped, but yeah, they're not that good. Sorry,
Yeah,
Juwan.
I mean, to go from riding that to Bubba's track, Juwan is literally probably not gonna stop riding.
When I know, no, and kudos to him. I mean, he makes do with what he's got, right? I mean, I remember when COVID was hot, like real big into shutdowns and everything, and he was just like, we can't even ride. So like he went the whole summer. Like he couldn't even throw a leg over a dirt bike. He couldn't even ride in a yard or anything, right? Like it was just locked down. So obviously when the gates opened, like ripping around building tracks and stuff. But I mean, he probably hasn't ridden a Supercross track like in a really long time. So
since March.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a disadvantage, I guess, in this case, given the COVID circumstances for him to be, out of the country, but there's only so much time that he can be in the country. So it's not like he could have came over 2 months ago, not knowing the schedule and how long it's going to, it could still get drawn out. We could have some rounds get canceled or postponed or pushed back and the season goes back a little longer. So Juwan's kind of playing that game of, he can only be over here for like 6 months at a time, I think, to on his card to be here in the States. So, like he couldn't come any earlier than really when he is right now. And obviously he could either be here tomorrow or it could be 14 days from now. So cuts into that riding time, but yeah, it'll be interesting to get him back on the bike and get here and hopefully he can kind of pick up pretty quickly where he left off. So I don't know. What'd you guys think about the first episode?
I think you killed it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, not me, man.
I think you killed it.
I don't need my back padded, but I appreciate it.
I don't
think it went good. I think everybody, for the most part, got a pretty good insight on kind of what's going on with our team, and yeah, I think it'll be good.
What do you want to talk about next episode?
More jokes, man.
More jokes?
People like funny. The guys are, man. Logan didn't say anything funny. Get this guy off the set.
Dude, I've got some funny stuff to bring up. I just don't want to embarrass him.
Okay, all right. We'll wait.
You guys are so professional. I'm just like chilling over here. Like, can I say something funny now?
You got a joke, Bob?
I don't have jokes,
Shoot,
man.
Not off the top of my head.
I don't have jokes. Yeah, I used all my jokes right before we started recording.
Yeah. Well, when we had all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, it was just me making fun of you, but yeah.
I got a joke.
Go for it.
Having to cut off my freaking thing today.
Oh, hold on.
That was a joke.
What did you cut off?
It's axle.
My axle.
Oh, you said cut off my thing, so I didn't know what. I was like, dude, the girls of your Instagram are going to be bummed.
Well, yeah, he did. Yeah, he was bleeding. Axle. He was on his period too. He had blood on the inside.
That's something. I know. I was gonna bring that up, but I didn't want. I didn't want to embarrass you.
No, go for it.
All right, we got jokes then. We got.
I don't know what it is, dude.
This is real.
Can I swear or no?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, cool.
I mean, don't go
ass was bleeding for the past week. I don't know what. I think it's a stock seat cover. My ass is just not gelling with that seat cover even slightly, and I got scabs on my ass. And now every time I freaking ride, the scabs get all effed up and just start bleeding, dude. I have 3 sets of my riding gear with on the mesh in there with blood on the mesh.
Like he's on his period.
Blood stains.
Yeah, dude, it looked like it. Bubba got a video of me today. I was I sat up and showed it. I was like, God, that totally looks like I'm on my period.
He says it's the seat cover. It's just the 450 power.
Yeah. It powered him. There's a lot of variables. You got power. I mean, colder temperatures.
Maybe my ass just isn't used to getting pulled that hard with all that power. And it's just chafing.
I think it could be grip more with your knees, man. Don't grip at the butt cheeks. I don't know what you're doing there.
You throw some of that moto tape on there.
There we go.
Hey, this is I think you were listening to something the other day. It was I think it was a Pulp MX show. They had a 10-minute closing segment or something. I was like, when's this end? This is what this is turning into.
Yeah, you're pretty much on it. Oh, I was just trying to bring out some like, well, why if people didn't enjoy episode 1, why are they going to enjoy episode 2? I was trying to tease out some future topics here.
Yeah,
just
there we go.
put your comments in the bottom, and we'll
Whenever we post this, wherever we post it, type of thing.
Just comment on it.
Hopefully soon. What about after the gate drop? You like that? We sticking with it?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
All right.
it's good.
The intro is like pretty solid.
Top notch.
I think it sounds
Is the intro the exit?
That 12
too?
hours yesterday did not include the intro.
How many takes did it take?
Not
honestly?
long. I actually crushed that thing. Like,
Did you?
I did it like maybe 3 times. Like,
Oh, damn, that's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. I wrote it out though. That's the difference. Like, I typed it out and I was like, okay, like.
But still, like, you're still gonna listen to it and be like, oh, I should like say this a little bit different. But like, I mean,
I
3
did.
tries for that to sound like that.
Well, when I
mean,
got here,
you did pretty
Bubba was
good.
like wanting to change the title of the podcast. I was like, dude, I just recorded it. Like, now I got to record it again. So, no,
What you get
we're
when you're
not
the boss.
Yeah, I know. No, it's after the gate drop. I think we're sticking with it. Even though the gate hasn't dropped yet, it's still.
It's gonna drop.
It's going to drop, hopefully, January 16th in Houston.
It'll drop.
Where we will be round 1, the International Supercross team. I'm closing this out, Bubba. Here we go.
All right.
International Supercross race team. Thank you guys for joining. We had a good time. We're here with Logan Karnow, Bubba Polly. Juan will hopefully be here soon, but thank you. Come back for episode 2. We got some good topics. Another Moto podcast, but we're not another Moto podcast. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Have you ever wondered what it takes to run a Supercross team? What the day-to-day looks like? How about behind the scenes at the races and what happens during the week between rounds? Join me, Ryan Kuntz, as we follow the Mad Parts, Double Eagle MX, and Numera Technologies Kawasaki team through their journey in the 2021 Supercross season. This is After the Gate Drop.